Content warning. This video has been filmed while life continues on around me. You may hear a chihuahua snoring, phone noises, creaky chair sounds, desk shifting, humidifier running, and so on. I do my best to keep all the crazy distractions at bay, but sometimes we just have to go with the flow. I appreciate your understanding. Hello everybody, welcome to Conversations with Sakeina. This week, instead of doing the Wise Words to Ponder, we're doing Into the Unknown with Tarot. What this means is that I'm going to share with you a true story that I received from a viewer when I had a website called the Night Watchman Chronicles, which was a paranormal website. The story that I will share with you is kind of out of time, yet paranormal in nature. And when I'm done with the story, we'll share these cards here that Sakeina shot out for me when I read the story to her, where she explains somewhat about what happened to the person within the story. So let's read. The story is called The Farm in Knox County, Ohio, by C.V. It was late on a Saturday night in December. Snow was on the ground and a winter mix was falling when my aunt received a call from her sister asking for her humidifier. My cousin, who was around 7 or 8 at the time, had pneumonia and was having a difficult time breathing the dry air from the wood stove. My aunt said that she would be there as soon as she could get her coat and boots on. The drive over took 15 minutes, 10 minutes longer than normal due to the weather. As my aunt drove down the long driveway, she saw my cousin run across the lane and into the cow pasture. My aunt convinced herself that she had been seeing things and continued down the drive. Again, my cousin ran out from the cow pasture and stood in the middle of the lane wearing only Scooby-Doo pajama pants and a pair of boots. My aunt stopped her car and had just started to get out when he ran across the yard into the barn. This time she knew she had seen him and she was angry that her sister had called her to drive over to the house in the nasty weather. She knew, though, she couldn't leave him out in the cold, sick or not. When she got close to the barn, my cousin ran out of the barn, stopped and faced her, then ran on to the house. He opened the porch door and ran on in. My aunt tried to calm herself down before she entered the house, but couldn't control her anger. As she entered, she was yelling at her sister for dragging her out in the middle of a winter storm to bring a humidifier to a sick kid who was out running around the yard with no shirt on. Her sister met her at the kitchen door and asked what the devil she was talking about. My aunt explained what she had seen. She was told that it was impossible. My cousin was on the couch where he had been all evening. My aunt angrily pushed by her sister to see my cousin lying on the couch just as she had said. When my aunt approached him and put her hand upon his head, he was burning up with fever. She was extremely confused as she knew she had seen him running in the yard. So why wasn't he cold? My aunt pulled back the blanket on his legs and saw the pajama pants that she had seen him in. When she turned toward the wood stove, she saw his boots warm and dry. They were all confused about the events that had happened. When my aunt went to leave, my uncle offered to walk her back out to the car, half to calm her and also to show her that there was nothing out there. But in the snow were 2 sets of prints, my aunt's and a set that came from an unidentified smaller child. They never did find out who the child was or why he was there, but my aunt still won't go out there in the dark, cold or not. Okay, so there is the story. Let's see what cards Sakeina threw out for this story. We have the Knight of Chalices, we have the Fool, and we have the Magician. Okay, so with the Knight of Chalices or Knight of Cups, the woman in the story went on I'm going to call it a quest, due to the love of her nephew. And she went because her sister had called her and asked her for the humidifier, and she did take the chance of going out into the bad weather because, again, she loves her nephew, she loves her sister. Then she was made to feel like a fool, or at least so she thought. And this was meant to be an adventure for her. And I kind of get the feeling Sakeina is saying that she'd been looking for some kind of an adventure. Life was kind of humdrum for her, and she just didn't feel like anyone special. hadn't been feeling like anyone special, so she wanted some kind of an exciting quest, something to do, something different. However, she didn't really expect the crazy adventure that she would receive. It wasn't too much, but yet it was enough to give her the willies. Like she had been walking through a cemetery and she saw a ghost kind of thing. And what Sakeina's saying is that this was magic put together for her. But it was also the boy, the innocent boy, was having kind of an out-of-body experience because he was so sick. Kind of a way to escape the physical body when perhaps the temperature maybe went too high. And he left his body for a little while, which is what the woman saw. She saw him running in the cold with no shirt on. So this would be, his astral body, perhaps, running out there in the cold because he needed to be cooled down. That was what his physical body was saying. I need to be cooled down. I'm too hot. And his body reacted. He left his body. His astral body went out into the snow to run around with just his Scooby pants and his boots. So this woman, she was doing something out of love, but also, she didn't really mind going out in the snow. Not the way that it sounded in the story where she was so angry at having to do so. She wasn't really that angry. She was kind of excited about being able to do it, but because she was doing it out of love and because she was doing it because her sister had asked her to, when it turned out differently, she did get a little bit angry, a little bit emotional about it. And she felt like a fool. That was the first initial reaction. Certainly when she thought about it, the magic of it would be something that would stick with her. Unfortunately, according to the person who wrote the story, whose aunt this was, the aunt ended up being afraid of the situation. She didn't embrace the situation as you might hope, since she was given that opportunity. But the fire within this boy, and there is no fire card here or no wands. The chalices are water, the fool is air, and the magician is either earth or air. So we're just going to go water and air. He was breathing. He needed the humidifier, but there was no wands and no earth. So basically, there was no fire and no earth. So there was nothing stopping him from transforming into his astral self and not being exactly on the earth plane. It was perfect condition for him to actually do his astral travel, and it just so happened that the aunt was the one who got to witness what happened. So that's what Sakeina has to share about the farm in Knox County, Ohio. So until next time, take care.